We are Smith & Company, real estate, also work with Kale Realty. And today we wanted to talk about self-directed IRAs. We've used self-directed IRAs extensively in our business to purchase properties, give out loans, and we decided that we were going to have Midland IRA come in to talk to us about self-directed IRAs. And this is Daniel. Daniel, what's your last name?
Hanlon.
Daniel Hanlon. Yeah. I first met Daniel, and I got an email, and it was Daniel and Dan. So Dan is VP, right?
Yeah, so I am. Yeah.
You're the VP,
and Danny is our senior associate on our team. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're like
so
a law firm.
You call him Danny.
I call him Danny, and I answer to anything other than Danny in the office. But
okay.
We're like a law firm. Keep it easy, Dan and Daniel. So.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about Midland.
Yeah, so Midland IRA, we're independently owned. We're actually an employee-owned company now as of 2020, which is really exciting for me personally, since I was employee number 7 back 10 years ago. Now we're at 50 something employees. But we have offices in Chicago and Fort Myers in South Dakota. That's where our trust charter is out of. And we specialize in like a little niche that not too many people even know exists until they're introduced to it, and that's self-directed IRAs. And what we are is a company that allows people to hold an investment that ordinarily a brokerage house or a bank or your stockbroker isn't able to hold in their account. Things that you've always been able to hold inside of an IRA account. Challenge is always finding that company that's willing to hold them. So I've been with the company now 10 years. We've been in business since 1997, and we've really experienced some rapid growth in this industry as it's become a little bit more prominent and normal. And I think that there's also a thirst from the public to try to find different things that they can do inside their IRA account or in their retirement account, where the majority of people's wealth is stored. Other than just placing it in a stock or a mutual fund and hoping for the best.
You just said something. You said things that you could hold in an IRA account, but they have found problems with people trying to manage that. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah. So the interesting thing, when we always explain to someone when they first come over or hear about our business, is people are always surprised to hear that they've always been able to buy things like real estate or invest into a private company or to make a loan out of their IRA account. You've always been able to do that. You just can't typically do that with a bank or where your IRA is currently held, because there's some administrative complexities that come with holding some of these investments inside of an account. So if you think of the bank that might have 10,000 clients all invested into their mutual funds or their CD products, which are really easy to handle that type of volume. It's really difficult when they have like 1 or 2 clients that own a property, and now all of a sudden we're receiving rent checks, that sort of thing. So our industry formulated out of that need where you needed to have a company that's more willing, familiar with, and it just has business models and structures in place to handle these types of, like I said, administrative complexities that come with holding some of these assets. So typically, some of the banks, like trust departments, I always jokingly said that you could find this service that Midland offers back in like the 90s or 80s up in like the one corner of the trust department that's off, that only one guy knows or gal knows how to do it. Now it's because it's becoming a little bit more normal. We've basically streamlined the whole process to make it easy for folks, not only for the client or for the person that's making the investment, but also on a company like us, so where we can handle tens of thousands of different unique investments and do it in an efficient manner.
Okay. So the type of thing that you handle, you actually act as a custodian.
Sure.
So can you explain that and what does that mean?
Yeah, so a custodian, again, is another term that you probably wouldn't even hear about unless you're entering into an agreement with one. But a custodian is a responsibility or a relationship that the IRS requires that you must have on an IRA account. So every IRA account, whether your account's with a Schwab or a local bank, there's a custodian involved. Now, typically, the custodian of record is the company that you've purchased that investment through. But in this case, Midland IRA serves as just the custodian. We're not offering you an investment, so we're just offering you custodial services. So what is that? Essentially what it is it's third-party record keeping, meaning that we're neutral from the investment or from the account, and we're doing record keeping and tax reporting on the IRA account to the IRS directly to keep it compliant. So unfortunately, the IRS, unlike some retirement plans where the trustee or the participant can do their own administration or tax reporting on it, on an IRA account, the IRS doesn't trust you to do it yourself. They require that there must be a third party that's doing that. That's the role that Midland fills.
Okay. And so as a custodian, just to clarify, you do not help make decisions on what to invest in.
Correct.
And the self-directed is, I as an investor, I make the decision on what I should invest my retirement money in. I can invest in stocks and bonds, real estate. Are there things I can't invest in as a part of a self-directed IRA?
So the IRS only lists two classes of investments that you can invest in inside of an IRA account. So while there's language on the IRS's website that says like if you invest into real estate, these are things to worry about, there's not a list of investments that say that these are IRS approved. There's just two investment classes that you're forbidden from investing into inside of an IRA account. So the first one is life insurance contracts. You can't buy life insurance inside of an IRA account. That very rarely comes up, but the one that comes up more often are what the IRS deems to be collectible items. So collectible items are something that might hold an intrinsic value, or you and I may not see that the value is as equal. Like a piece of real estate, there's a little bit more of a defined market value. So think of things like artwork, collectible coins, baseball cards, wine collections, that's another one, alcohol collections, guns and ammo. All of those things, I always jokingly say, if you watch the show Pawn Stars, everything that they bring in there on a day-to-day basis, those are investments to some, but not investments when we talk of IRAs.
Okay. What's the average size of an IRA?
So the average size of so the stat is, these are pretty good stats and they're pretty relevant. So 40% of households have an IRA account. So if you run into someone on the street, chances are they don't even have an IRA account, because most people have a retirement savings in a 401k or some sort of employer plan. I think we'll touch on that more in a minute. Of the retirement accounts that are out there, the average account size is $106,000 that people have in an IRA account. But most of the time people enter into an IRA account by way of a 401k rollover or a 403b rollover, some sort of employer plan that they've had at a former employer, and they've rolled that over to begin an IRA account.
Okay.
So,
and rollovers are done without having to pay taxes for the most part, are they not?
That's correct. So it's a lateral move. You're going from one retirement plan to the next, so there's no tax liability that's due there.
Okay. Do a lot of people partner when they have self-directed IRAs? Do they use that as for partnerships to acquire assets?
Absolutely. I'd say that that's our most common way that people acquire real estate or just enter into an investment if they either wanted to just diversify and enter into a couple of different investments or enter into a large investment via pooling money together. As people will read about on the internet, IRAs have, self-directed IRAs have some rules that prevent certain parties from buying and selling with one another, but you're actually able to partner with what are considered to be disqualified parties. So ordinarily thinking, if I own a property and I can't use my IRA to buy that from myself, you're actually I'm able to partner with my IRA alongside my IRA as a way to acquire a property or another type of investment. That's a little rule that sometimes confuses people, but it's a really good strategy for a lot of people to enter in.
What about partnering with family? How's that work?
Well, you'd have to deem if it's family that you really want to be business partners with, but provided that box is checked, you can partner with friends and family, whether they're disqualified or not, by going in on an investment together.
Okay. What about lending? How popular is that? People making loans out of their IRA, being private lenders. Private lenders.
Yeah, so private lending has always been a popular option inside of IRA accounts. It's becoming more and more popular as property values increase. But what people do is a different real estate investment strategy. Rather than using an IRA to take title to a property or to own the property, what you're doing is you're issuing a loan out of your IRA account where you're the bank, and the borrower then pays their mortgage or their payment back into the IRA account, and the gain that you make either on the interest or the points at origination, however you want to structure it, is really up to you. Is really just treated as a return on investment. And the great thing is that's all happening inside of an IRA account. So you're deferring any type of taxation that you might own.
Yeah, that's the wonderful thing I liked about it. The gain goes right back into the IRA, therefore you don't pay any taxes. Now, if you do want to take something out, you'll pay what you're taking out, but the gain goes back in.
Yeah, to revisit your question initially about what role does a custodian play, I talked about tax reporting, but you just hit on the big one. That's really why you pay a company like us an annual fee to manage the account. Is we are the hands that receive this money and send this money in order to keep it out of the client's hands. Once it touches a client's personal account or touches their hands per se, it becomes taxable to them. So as long as you work through Midland systems and we send the money and we receive the money, you're able to completely defer the tax along the way.
Okay. I won't mention the company, but one of the companies I had my IRA with, I had challenges because sometimes the market moves very fast. You've got to put in an offer on a property, and you're doing that through your self-directed IRA. And I used to get very angry because they took too long. How do you handle that in your company?
Yeah, so there's two of the most common ways that people buy real estate inside of an IRA account at Midland. So the first is the one that we've just alluded to throughout this conversation, where you direct Midland to purchase a property directly and hold it within the IRA account. If you were to look at a closing, it's actually Midland that would wire funds, and on the closing documents it'd be the IRA listed as the title holder or the purchaser. Those closings can take 24 to 48 hours to happen. As you can imagine, gathering documents and meeting the necessary Midland approvals to send money out can come with some lag there. If you're buying property and it's at auction, or you just want to handle it in a much more quicker, efficient manner, what people do is they can set up what's called a single member LLC or a checkbook IRA. They're one and the same. And in that type of structure, the IRA is investing into an LLC. So the funds hit that LLC's operating account, and then the manager, which is oftentimes the individual account holder, is able to just write a check and purchase the property in the name of the LLC. So that, in a sense, you could go to a same-day auction and cut a check.
Okay.
or close in a much quicker manner.
Okay. So Midland, you're in Chicago. What are the other states you're located in?
Fort Myers, Florida, and South Dakota. Sioux
Okay.
Falls, South Dakota.
Okay. You can do business around the country though. It doesn't matter where, as long as it's the United States, the entire 50 states.
Yeah, we have clients across the globe. So even if you have an IRA account, which is a U.S. based account, wherever you're living, that account needs a custodian. And if you wanted to buy real estate or some sort of private asset in it, we can service it. So we do have international clients across the globe.
Okay. At what age does somebody have to start removing or distributing money outside of your IRA?
Yeah, this is a pertinent topic because it just changed in 2020. So, we made this video a couple of months ago. In 2019, I tell you 70 and a half. It's actually 72 and a half now, where clients with a tax deferred account, so traditional IRAs or most common there, or old 401ks, you will have to start taking money out of that account. And as each year progresses and you age, you'll have to take more and more from a percentage out of the account each year.
Okay. Also, can you explain the difference between a Roth versus a regular IRA, and also how does that apply with regards to self-directed?
Yeah, so the most common type of IRA is a traditional IRA. And the reason is because most we talked about people roll over funds, usually employer plans or tax deferred plans. So a traditional IRA is a type of plan where when you put $1 in, you get to deduct that from your taxes in that tax year. And when you take $1 out, you claim that dollar on your taxes that year. You get a 1099. So the theory of a traditional IRA essentially is that you'll use this money when you're retired and not working or working less, so you're in a lower tax bracket, so you'll pay in a lower tax bracket. The Roth IRA is pretty much the exact opposite. So when you put $1 in, you don't get to deduct it off. It's money that you've already claimed on your taxes. You put that dollar in. And as long as you meet certain requirements, so you hold that Roth for 5 years, and you're 59 and a half of years of age when you take the distribution, any distribution will be tax free. So if I can put $1 in and turn that dollar into $5, as long as I wait and I take that $5 out, I don't owe any taxes.
Right.
The other great thing about Roth is there's no required minimum distribution age. You can keep that money in there as long as you're living. There's no restriction as far as like converting. So typically we think of Roth IRAs as being only for a certain class of person because there's an income restriction on putting money in. But back, I think 2011, they restricted the threshold of income where someone could convert money from a traditional into a Roth.
Mm-hmm.
So as we record this today, anyone could get into a Roth IRA account if they really wanted to.
Okay. How does somebody get in contact with Midland IRA?
You could either email us, you could call us on the phone, you can go to our website, midlandtrust.com, lots of different ways. Your tried and true method. Should I give out my phone number here?
Sure.
Okay, so best phone number to reach us here in Chicago is 312-235-0300. And you're welcome to ask for Dan on our new accounts team. Happy to help you.
So all we talked about today was self-directed IRAs. We're going to set up another video another time to talk about 1031 exchanges because Midland also handles 1031 exchanges. So for those of you who are interested in those and you need somebody to help you with that, Midland and Dan are the ones for that. Thanks. I think we're done for the day.